Extreme weather events. Introduction. Climate change affects the Earth in many different ways. One of those ways is through the increase of extreme weather events. Climate change accounts for increase in flooding, storms, hurricanes, heat waves, and more. The two weather events we'll be focusing on in this video are floods and hurricanes. Floods. What are floods? A flood is an overflow of water that submerges land that is usually dry. An increase of flooding has occurred in the past years because of things like heavier precipitation, increased hurricanes, and rising sea levels. All these things have been increased by human activities and climate change. Human impact. Humans directly impact global warming, and global warming is one of the causes of extreme flooding. Human activities such as deforestation, farming livestock, and burning fossil fuels are all direct contributors to global warming. They contribute to global warming by releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. The carbon dioxide released from human activities causes the atmosphere to heat up. When the atmosphere heats, it is able to hold more water. Then, since the air is holding more moisture, it releases more water when it rains. The increase in the amount of water released when it rains leads to an increase in flooding. This all can be seen in the graph, which shows a correlation between the temperature of air and the amount of water released. The higher the temperature, the more moisture builds up, which leads to heavier rain and snowfall.
Flooding days are expected to grow exponentially. As seen in the graph, in the past, the number of flooding days were relatively low because humans hadn't impacted the Earth as much. Currently, the flooding days have grown, but are still not incredibly high. However, after 2030, the flooding days are expected to grow at a concerningly rapid rate due to the accumulation of the effects that climate change has on floods. According to the graph, since 1920, the sea levels and high tide flood days have both increased. Things caused by climate change like melting glaciers and increased precipitation cause the sea levels to rise. Another large factor is the heating up of seawater. When ocean water increases in temperature, the volume of it expands, which leads to an increase in the height of the sea level. Consequences of flooding. The consequences of flooding are very impactful at many different scales on Earth. At the human level, flooding is very dangerous for human lives. Floodwaters often move rapidly, which creates a high risk of people being injured or killed by these waters. At the local scale, important infrastructure buildings could be affected by flooding, causing unsafe living conditions. At a global scale, floodwaters could be contaminated, and when they go into the ocean, they could contaminate fragile ecosystems. Possible solutions. There are many possible solutions to prevent flooding, like relocating facilities to safer places, increasing the capacity for wastewater storage, monitoring groundwater conditions, and the main solution I'll be focusing on, the building flood barriers to protect infrastructure. Flood barriers can be built around important infrastructure to prevent it from being damaged. The large walls are able to withstand the water and make sure that the buildings inside the walls are protected from the rush of water.
Hurricanes. Hurricanes. They are one of the most formidable natural disasters that occur on this planet. With how fierce and destructive they are, they have the potential to wipe out entire cities. Even being as destructive that they already are, they are getting intensified even more by global warming. Ocean temperatures rising due to global warming are providing more energy for the hurricanes to feed on and intensify off of. Evaporation rates are also increasing, which leads to more moisture in the atmosphere. This increases the rainfall that is associated with hurricanes. Global warming is also causing unpredictable changes in the atmosphere, such as more wind. This wind influences the formation of hurricanes, thus influencing their intensity as well.
How humans cause hurricanes. First off, some well-known human activities that cause climate change are also transitively causing hurricanes. Said activities include the use of fossil fuels, deforestation, and industrial livestock farming. But a more specific example of human activities causing them is the addition of particulate matter into the atmosphere, affecting solar radiation, which controls weather. The chart on the bottom right shows the cycle of climate change, which includes the causation of wildfires and by extension hurricanes from particulate matter. The chart on the left shows the expected intensity of future hurricanes. Consequences of hurricanes. Hurricanes could damage important infrastructure, such as buildings that supply electricity, water, and telecommunications. If these buildings are damaged, it could cause homes to be unlivable, which would force people to evacuate their areas. Hurricanes can also spread pathogens and many harmful chemicals in the local area due to storm surge and flooding. This could even include the spread of radiation, harming the environment and ecosystems. Hurricanes work in domino effects. One negative thing causes another one to happen. For example, a hurricane damaging infrastructure like a hospital creates less healthcare and job opportunities in the area. This further leads to economic damage as there is less money flowing through the economy.
As presented in the graphs, the amount of hurricanes, both severe and regular, have spiked over the past 30 years. As seen on the left graph, the amount of hurricanes per 10 years is multiplied by times 1.5. Coincidentally, the USA's fossil fuel usage, our main cause of global warming, doubled in 1980, explaining the sudden jump in hurricanes. The amount of hurricanes is spiking up due to climate change warming up the temperatures of the ocean. This rise in temperature has caused the amount of hurricanes to vastly increase, because hurricanes thrive in warm water environments. This results in damage to the environment, ecosystems, more casualties, and harming more people, more often due to the increased severity of the hurricanes. Though hurricanes are extremely powerful and ravenous, there are some presentable solutions that could be used to defer the damage from the hurricanes. One of these is the preservation of coastal wetlands, sand dunes, and ocean reefs. These solutions will help to absorb the storm surge, deferring the damage done. Another solution is the replenishment of beaches, as well as improving infrastructure that can give coastal protection, such as seawalls. Finally, buildings that are vulnerable to flood damage from the hurricane could be elevated in order to protect it.